Good night. Good night, good night, good night, guys. Good night. Welcome to another story time with the Journey of Nickaiya from normal to CP. I'm her mom, Yannick. Nickaiya is in bed as usual. So I'm doing story time alone as usual. Now, guys, I hope you continue to like up the videos, share, and who haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Tell everybody, tell a friend, tell a family, tell somebody, pull them along to the family with us. Okay, and you can also leave a comment, ask a question. Don't have to be about Nickaiya, could be about me too. Now, me doing these videos, right, is to help others, because there are a lot of mothers out there with special need kids, right? The children, it's hard for them to cope and go through daily things with themselves and their kids. So for them watching and seeing how we cope, and the fact that I'm here and I can talk, I can tell the story, it says a lot. You know, it will help to inspire, because just recently I heard of a mother with a special need child just the same, and when she met another friend of mine, she was so happy, you know, because of what she was going through alone with her child. So I know that mothers are out there who need to have, you know, that support with other mothers like themselves going through it, you know, can share and tell how they do it. Okay, guys, recap. Nickaiya is a 8 years old cerebral palsy child who was diagnosed with hydrocephalus at 2 months old and lost her sight, speech, mobility at 2.5 years old due to hospital negligence. Now, on our last story time, so we're at story time 6, right? Yes. So for you guys to know how we got to all this, you have to go back to 1, 2, 3, 4. See how many you have missed. So please go back to them, and then you can catch up with me on this one.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust. Oh, here we go, 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 let us heal and grow. You won't be.
Alright, Nickaiya, the last time I gave the story was when the gentleman came to her bed, right? And what happened after, and what he said before he left her bed. So he told us that, Mommy, Nickaiya is gonna be okay. And guys, remember I told you, all she did from she got the seizure and lost everything, all she did was just lying there, cried. Other than cry, she sleep. That's it, nothing else. We get nothing from her. And that very evening, after that gentleman prayed for her, Nickaiya started laughing. Guys, can you imagine how we felt seeing our daughter laughing? Because you brought your child into the hospital with sight, everything. Suddenly, nothing, sight, speech, mobility went. Your child just lay there for weeks just crying, nothing more than crying. And just to see her start laughing, guys, hear how she got to that laughing part. Her dad sat with her and he was talking, and he was, because he's always trying to pull her with conversation, saying stuff to her to get her to respond somehow. And I heard when he said, "You're laughing at me, Nickaiya?" And I said, "Stop lying, don't lie on my child is not laughing." And he said, "Alright, come and see." And he took out the phone and he started playing a video that she used to that they did before she got sick. No, she heard this video so many times. So when he started playing the video, she started laughing. Oh God, I just saw my pretty little girl just smiling. Just, girl, guys, I called out to the nurses, which other doctor on the floor. I was calling for everybody to come and see. Come guys, come look at Nickaiya laughing. Because you're saying, okay, she's coming around. You seen your baby laughing after all that event. You're like, she's coming around. But it never went that easy, her laughing. But it was a start. It was a start of her getting better. And the laughing started. We played with her, we talked with her more, we played more videos, to pull her along. And I think after about 2 weeks, the doctors came and they asked, if we wanted to take her home. Because that if we didn't want her or whatever, they would send her to a home or whatever. We said, is she okay to come home? They said, yes. I said, no problem, we'll take her home. And we arranged for her to come home like 2 days after. So yes, we went and got her. And we took her home, and her grandfather was the one who came to the house every morning. He was there, massaging her. Remember, she lost mobility. So he tried, pumping the blood flow through her feet, her hands, the body. He would just wanted blood to flow so it would do movements. And guys, it actually did. It worked. He used the empty roll-on bottle and he used it to roll. It's like he's moving the blood through her. Yes, and it worked. Thanks to Grandpa, it worked. And Nickaiya started moving around. She started, kicking the foot, moving the arms, to the point where Nickaiya, when you put her on her stomach, she started to put her knees, like, babies who is learning to creep. She started going on her knees again. So like, God, guys. And then she started saying, Ma. That's her way of saying mama. She started with the ma first. And that you leaving the hospital, they normally tell you to go back to your pediatrician and they would guide you accordingly. No, the pediatrician ordered that we go see a neurologist. We went, we saw the neurologist. The neurologist ordered an MRI. So the MRI would no longer be going through the hospital, for them to tell us whatever they want to tell us. We were doing it independently. So we did the MRI, we got the report back. And guys, I opened the report. I wasn't waiting for no doctor to read it. I wanted to see what the report had said because I was clueless as what was going on in her brain. To my surprise, the report read, right active shunt, left inactive shunt, third ventricles swollen. How could that be good, guys? Third ventricles swollen. Now we have 3 ventricles. For all who know about the brain and who don't know about the brain, just check out the brain ventricles and it tells you what it does, the features and all of that. But I'll do a video and give you guys, the information on ventricles. Her third ventricle was swollen and she have a left inactive shunt. Now that can't be good. So I was there checking because even though I'm not a doctor, I don't know medical terms. I may know some of them now, but at that time I didn't know what those words meant. I started checking books. I was at her aunt's house at that time and they had these dictionaries. So I was checking to see if these words were in the dictionary and if it could give me a meaning, so then I would have an understanding of what the report was actually saying. I called a pharmacist friend, asking him what's the meaning of these words. He could maybe help with a few, but for the most part, he didn't know. Guys, I couldn't wait to get to the neurologist because I needed to hear what inactive shunt they were talking about on her left side. Remember, Nickaiya only did surgery and was placed with a right shunt. Okay, the report, after we got to her, she explained that we need to revisit our neurosurgeon. First, she told me, because I'm always saying there's a blockage at the back of the brain. That's what the neurosurgeon told me the first time. So after he did that, after he gave me that information, I held on to it that there's a blockage at the back of the brain. So you know, there's a passageway, the fluid to pass through. Her passageway is closed like this, so there's no fluid passing through it. So hence the blockage. She says, Mommy, don't call it blockage at the back. It's called aqueductal stenosis. That's the term for her hydrocephalus. That's what causes her hydrocephalus, aqueductal stenosis. Okay, she said, you have to revisit your neurosurgeon because obviously her shunt is not working. The fact that her third ventricle was swollen. I also asked her what shunt were they talking. She said, Mom, I have no idea. You just have to revisit your neurosurgeon and let him give you the information. I went, at that time I was in Kingston. I went back to Westmoreland because that's where we lived. I called him, I asked him for his email. I told him why I wanted the email. He sent it. Immediately we sent it off. Guys, can you believe that the doctor didn't even call me back after he read the report? Because he knew what happened. He knew what was going on. He never responded. He didn't say anything. I had to call him the following morning to say, Doc, I had sent you an email. What should we do? He said, do you want to take her in? I said, Doc, it's not a matter if we want to take her in. When should we take her back there? And he didn't even take it like it was urgent. He told us like about next 2 weeks. You know, that's how far off he gave us with what he read. That's how far he never cared. Her third ventricle is swollen, right? Therefore the fluid is still on her brain. Plus there's a left inactive shunt when she was only placed with a right active shunt. And it's not urgent. Alright guys, I went in the weeks that he said, the day that he said I was supposed to come. We took all day to get Nickaiya admitted to the hospital. It took all day. Finally she was admitted. I was there thinking, no, okay guys, they were gonna do some surgery, whatever, tell us what was going on. After that day, that whole thing about an inactive shunt being on her left side slipped my brain, because what was going on for her now, she had an infection. Because each time, once she's there, they're gonna check if there's any infection. Now, if there's an infection, they're gonna remove her shunt. Yes, so she was placed again with an external drain. And they said, okay, they're gonna be treating. A matter of fact, they didn't even put on an external drain. There was a breakdown at the back of her head there, right? There's a breakdown because yes, when they took that shunt out, yes, actually there was an infection and they said they were gonna change and put the shunt to the other side. Now where they placed the shunt was on this side now at the back, and a breakdown was going on. When she cried, it was swollen. It got swollen, and when she's comfortable, it went down. And we're like, why does it come? It's not supposed to be like that. It can't be not normal for her where the shunt is at. There's fluid when she cries, you know, fill up at the back there. We have the pictures too. And it's to them, it's nothing, you know. We have to be calling them something is not right around there, all of that. They come, they took her back to surgery. I don't know what they were doing. They know what they were doing. They weren't telling us anything. They just were just going into my child brain just like that. Okay, she was eventually placed again on an external drain. Yeah, so the amount of times doctors went into Nickaiya brain, I lost count. And even then they were giving her gravel. They were giving, because she was vomiting now, she had fevers, and they couldn't tell me, now you're giving her gravel for vomiting and you're giving her Panadol for the fever, why nothing is going down? And for a baby to be having fever, there has to be an infection, right? They can't explain what was going on. One night I asked him, I said, Doc, there was a junior doctor, I said, Doc, why you're giving her gravel for vomiting, she's still vomiting, and why she still have a fever? He said, Mommy, I don't know. That's when I said, God, if they're the doctors and they don't know, give me a sign. Do something. What's going on, God? What is going on? I prayed. I said, God, keep her for the night. And we left the hospital. We went by the following morning. They said she never vomited for the rest of that evening. I was happy because I'm like, okay, you know, God did some miracle right there. Oh God stopped the vomiting that night, but everything started again. So you know, Nickaiya wasn't eating. She was what, NPO, no food by mouth or something like that it meant, and just vomiting and just deteriorating, just getting slimmer and slimmer by the day, just going down. And Nickaiya drained was turned off twice. Once, I can say, and I can testify because I was in there, a junior doctor came to her bed, turned the drain off, and left the room. She left the room. So Dad saw the other child's drain with a button down and Nickaiya open. And Dad was like, yeah, Mommy, look. What's going on with Nickaiya drain? And look at that child's drain. We went over the first time and we flicked it open. Right? Whatever that was happening on that side was the opposite on my daughter's one. I'm not sure if it was open or closed, but something was going on differently from that, so we know it was off. So I went over and I flicked it open and I called the sister, because in Jamaica on those wards you have sisters running the floors, and the sister came and yes, she got mad. They did it again. It was the second time that we saw the doctor. The first time we didn't know who did it, but the second time we saw, she came to her bed, she did whatever she was doing, measured and whatever, and walked out, and the drain was shut off. Yeah, it was closed down, yeah, because we flicked it open for the drain to come on. And this time I didn't touch it. I called the sister. I said, Sister, come, look here. Nickaiya drain, it's closed. The doctor closed it down and she got so mad and she opened it. Guys, the following day, the other junior doctor came and he said, Mommy, I heard what happened to Nickaiya drain, but I can't tell you who did it. I said, Doc, I don't need you to tell me. I was there. I saw who came to her bed and who left. Yes, I was there. Guys, you're gonna have to follow us on the next story time to hear what happened from then, because trust me, it's a story leading up to the time when Nickaiya came to the States, and it's months to go. So you know there's a story going on. So please don't forget to watch the video, like up the videos, share to your friends, your families, and ask them to share to their friends and families too. Subscribe if you haven't, and yes, leave a comment, ask us questions. I'm here to answer about Nickaiya, about us, just communicate with me, guys, and tune in to the next story time when you hear more about Nickaiya. Thank you for staying with us. The Journey of Nickaiya from normal to CP. Please return, and return with friends and loved ones. And I'm Unique again, Nickaiya's mom. Peace. I'm out.